you? I hope you're doing okay. I hope you're fine. I hope you're keeping the faith strong. Welcome to Estate Media. My name is Esther Wachuku. A couple of you already know that this is my personal channel. So I would implore you to kindly subscribe, like, and share. Estate Media will logically and comprehensively look into issues of national import as they affect every one of us. And we do not just logically look into these issues. We try as much as possible to present a different angle, a different means through which, or a different lens through which the conversation that is trending could be analyzed. It's also very important for us to educationally equip ourselves with facts and not sentiments. At this time and at this stage of our democracy, and at a stage where social media seems to be the means through which Nigerians express themselves, where there is propaganda, where there is fake news, where everyone is just out there giving their own opinion. In some instances, it's coming from a twisted perspective, and in some instances, it's coming from a biased perspective. It's colored with ethnic sentiment, and in some instances, very rare few instances, it comes from a logical angle. So it's important for us to absorb information that is objective and factual rather than sentimental and emotional. With the current state of things in the country, Nigerians are literally strained. They are strained emotionally. They are drained. It feels hopeless. It feels like everywhere is just a dark cloud and there is nothing to hold on to. But we have to continue to try to hold on to something. And the only way we keep ourselves sane is by being logical. And if at all we have any platform where we can express ourselves to ask the government to continue to be accountable, then let's do that. Let's not delay, but let's do that. In 1 week, Nigeria has recorded many casualties. In 1 week, I don't think we've actually ever experienced it this bad, or we've actually noticed it this bad. But in 1 week, Nigeria has experienced many casualties. Army general killed, pupils abducted as Nigeria's insecurity escalates. In a single harrowing week, Nigeria's heartland was plunged into sorrow as fear and violence struck with brutal force from all possible angles: ambush, abduction, and attack. Right now, the Catholic Church has given us details that the Catholic school where those children were abducted, it is now 315 counted so far that has been abducted, and they are still counting. 315, which is more than the official reports that were heard, which was 200 or 210 or 215. 315. That's what the Catholic Church has told us. Now, from the serene evening worship disrupted by gunfire and choir to the brutal execution of a frontline commander in Borno and the chilling abductions of school children and civilians across the north, west, these events weave a green tapestry of insecurity and loss that continues to deepen. Now, that's not the only development. I'm sure a couple of us must have heard just yesterday, Aloy Ejimako went on his X handle, formerly known as Twitter, which is a social media platform where a couple of Nigerians are able to express themselves and give notifications on issues happening. So this platform, information is reeled out before traditional media outlets are able to express it. So if you're on that platform, you get updated, especially if you follow some of those media outlets like Channels, Punch, Vanguard. All of those platforms are also on X. So before any broadcast is done, most of their social media handles have already been updated with that breaking information. So apparently, the wife of NNAMDIKANU came out to express her displeasure with how certain elements went onto social media to announce that her husband has been transferred to Sokoto prison. Aloy Ejimako is NNAMDIKANU's consultant now, who was also his legal counsel representing him all the while the trial was ongoing while he was in the DSS custody. Aloy Ejimako came and told us that they went to the DSS facility to visit NNAMDIKANU like they usually do, but they told him he was no longer there, that he's been taken out of the DSS facility. As of last night, NNAMDIKANU arrived at the Sokoto Correctional Centre just yesterday evening, and because of that, heavy security has been tightened. Heavy security presence was witnessed arrest at Sokoto Correctional Centre following the transfer of the convicted leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, NNAMDIKANU. Kanu also, we do know that on Thursday he was sentenced to life imprisonment by the Federal High Court in Abuja after being convicted on terrorism and related charges. Justice James Omotosho was one that ordered that Kanu be taken to a protected prison. What that represents is what we do not know here. A protected prison, noting that the Custodial Centre in Abuja was unsuitable due to past prison breaks and associated security risk. What that means is that Nnamdi Kanu may be exalted, may be praised, may begin to experience a lot of visits from family, friends, loved ones, fans, followers. The Kuje Correctional Centre can easily be located, and so they think that for security reasons and for a sense of sanity at a particular access, it's better that he's not taken to Kuje prison. Remember that Nnamdi Kanu had been asking that he be taken to Kuje prison, at least where every other person is, but the judge declined to take him there. He also said that any other correctional center across the country is where he'll be taken. And we know that the Sokoto Correctional Center, most of the terrorists, bandits, whatever it is you want to call them, is there. I even read somewhere where somebody who was taken to Sokoto Correctional Center told us that that prison is deadly, that prison is terrible. It says there's a high level of homosexuality in there, and that it's brutal, it's not a friendly environment, but there are hopes that they will keep him somewhere secure where he may not be exposed to all these elements. Now, we do know as well that we know what happens in such areas or in such facilities, but there are hopes that Nnamdi Kanu is already used to this kind of situation, and taking him to Sokoto is not surprising. In fact, they were asking, why Sokoto of all places? Why not take him to Imo Prison, Imo Correctional Center, or Abia Correctional Center, or anywhere? Why Sokoto Prison? Why such a far place? So the idea is Nnamdi Kanu may not even have as many visitors as he may have, because that's not an access people like to visit. Even if you want to go through the airport as visiting Nnamdi Kanu using flights, you still have to apply road to get to the prison. And we already know the security situation in the country. So it would discourage anyone who wants to flood to visit Nnamdi Kanu. You would have to think before you embark on such a journey. Also, the expenses, traveling, going and coming, and the stress on his family members. So taking him to Sokoto was deliberate, was planned. But the thing is, there's heightened security at Sokoto prison. So in other words, he'll be highly monitored because of the fact that he's a high-profile person that is being watched. Now, let's look at the situation that happened ever since Nnamdi Kanu was convicted. If you had followed the trial and the judgment on that day, which was televised on major television platforms, the senior advocate of Nigeria representing the federal government of Nigeria, and that is Awomolo, he even stated that Nnamdi Kanu should be given the death sentence. That is what is given for terrorists. He should be given the death sentence. That was what Awomolo projected. That is what he suggested to the court at that particular day. But Justice James Omotosho went inside, came out and said, we are going to tamper justice with mercy. We're not going to actually give him the life sentence. He also mentioned that Nnamdi Kanu did not show any form of remorse, did not even show concern, did not show that he has done something wrong, and that he hasn't shown that sense of humility all the while. The judge also said that Nnamdi Kanu was prideful, Nnamdi Kanu was not respectful, and they gave him due time to present his case through his legal counsel. But Nnamdi Kanu kept saying that he was going to present cases himself. He refused to table his defense. They gave him all the time for him to table his defense, but he did not table his defense. And there have been quite a lot of reactions from Nigerians across board. When it comes to Igbo matter, there is always that disparity. Judgment is usually swift. They don't consult, they don't negotiate like they do with terrorists. Other terrorists, we see them negotiate, we see them speak to them in hushed tones, we see them pet them. But because Nnamdi Kanu is an Igbo man, that's why this selective justice is being meted out on him. A lot of Igbos are not happy. Some people have said that anything concerning Nigeria, especially those from the southeast, are no longer interested. Anything that has to do with Nigeria, they will no longer be part of it. Nigeria has wounded Igbos. There is a lot of interpretation to what happened with the conviction of Nnamdi Kanu. The thing is that, yes, the southeast has been heavily marginalized. It's a systemic problem. They've sewn into the fabric of Nigeria's leadership system that an Igbo man after the civil war will be difficult to either trust him or give that reign of leadership. If you go history, I think you would understand. A couple of people have decided to start reading. It is now people now decided to start reading. And I hope that our young persons begin to read. You need to read to understand what happened, to understand the politics that ensued during the Civil War, to understand how ethnicity played a major role in that Civil War, the Hausa Fulani and the Southwest. What caused the Civil War? Who were the persons involved? What was the original intention? Who betrayed who? And how did Igbo get to this point? The decentralization of the southeastern states, the creation of states to weaken the strength of the East, the old Eastern region, now that it's being called as the Southeast. There's a lot of talks, how the Igbos were scattered. All right, that is why you will go to some locations, to some regions, and you'll be shocked that there is a particular group in that location. They are Igbos. They speak Igbo. You'll be surprised. They will tell you that that is also their land. That was part of the politics that played out during the Civil War. But the question is, were lessons learned, and did Nigeria move forward? Did Nigeria forgive the Igbos, or did the Igbos forgive Nigeria? The innocent blood that was shed during the Civil War, was there some cleansing that was done, some rehabilitation, some reconciliation, appeasement? A lot of terrible things happened. There was propaganda which fueled the Civil War. There was misinformation and disinformation, obviously caused by ethnicity. There was betrayal, jealousy. Ellie played a major role towards what transpired during the Civil War. Could it have been avoided? Yes, it could have been avoided. But it was something that it seemed like if it didn't happen, maybe it would have happened, if not that time, another time. But the Igbos were a sitting duck to be the sacrificial lamb for the federal government of Nigeria, which encompassed the Southwest Yorubas and the Hausa Fulanis. Now, let's come back to the case of Nnamdi Kanu, and I want us to be unbiased and objective to look at where Nnamdi Kanu erred and where the Nigerian government erred. The definition of terrorism and what terrorism entails, all the order and light broadcast Nnamdi Kanu did it cause the lives of innocent people? Actually pay for the lives of those people who were killed based on the alterations and statements Nnamdi Kanu made? Yes. Did Nnamdi Kanu wield any weapon? No. Was he caught with a gun? No. Was he caught with a cutlass? No. Did he take over people's lands? Did he try to wipe out an entire ethnic group to take over people's lands? No. What was his weapon? The microphone, the transmitter, his phone, and his tongue, the words that he said that caused a lot across board. It is important for us to remain factual in this. It is important for us to be objective, and it is important for us to remain educated. Nnamdi Kanu's case is a very sensitive one, and it is important for our brothers, our Igbo brothers, to be wise, to be cautious, to not let a repeat of what happened in 1966 to happen again. Because despite the insecurity Nigeria is going through, despite the volatility being experienced in some regions in the Southwest and in the North, trust me, any little spike, the Southwest and the North do not mind merging together to actually exterminate anyone that they consider to be trying to divide the polity from the Southeast. You'll be so shocked that the nonchalancy and lackadaisical attitude of the government in handling security, now that Fulani terrorists have been in several communities, they have been delaying in being swift in implementing justice, in implementing security. Just wait and see if any part of the South causes any problem. The military that has been refused, that they have refused to deploy, you will see the might of it. Who would lose? So you have to be very careful. Now let's listen to this take from a legal practitioner. She's a lawyer. She also has a page on Facebook. And she's been speaking about Nnamdi Kanu's matter for quite a very long time. She is well known. I think her name is Equituyo, or she's well known across social media platforms. And she has been following up on this whole case with Nnamdi Kanu, IPOB, and everything that transpired. Let's take a listen to her. Like I said, there are diverse interpretations of what happened, there are diverse interpretations of the conviction by Justice James Owotosh. There are Nigerians who are sad, heartbroken, and unhappy about it. There are Southwest brothers who are also saying that the dispensation of justice was not accurate but extremely biased, and that which of these Boko Haram elements and ISWAP elements have they actually given the life sentence or even death sentence. Yes, there is a disparity in how justice is meted. There's selectivity in the carriage of justice. But let's take a listen to her so we have a clear perspective. You can as well tell us what you think on the comment section, what your own opinion is, what your own ideology is, what you think actually this entire situation is. As a legal practitioner, as a person that is concerned about the state of Nigeria, as someone who has been following up Nnamdi Kanu's case, at some point you can tell me in the comment section right now as we're streaming live what you think about this. But let's take a holistic view. Let's listen to the take of this woman. It's very important, okay? Thank you very much for your patience.
This morning is to let you guys know that, look, yes, the court of first instance have given its judgment. That doesn't mean that his right to appeal has been closed or foreclosed. No. He has a right to appeal his judgment. He has a right to appeal that judgment. Then even when the appeal comes out, the judgment in the court of appeal comes out, he also has a right to the Supreme Court. It is not yet the end. So why the cry? Why all the emotional things? Why the insult to people? Must everybody support IPOB? I'm an Igbo woman, but I'm not IPOB. I'm not in support of them. Now we say justice is everybody's business. What about those who died? What about those who were killed by these IPOB people under his command? What about them? Dora, example. What about the unknown gunmen? Yes, I agree. He has every right to seek what he wanted.
Oh, yes, I'm lying.
Everybody has the right to agitate for change. Everybody has the right to agitate for change. You guys know me. I'm stubborn when I believe in something. So at a point, I liked this young Nnamdi. At a point, because I could see a young man vibrating, wanting for change, calling for change, just like our late Ojukwu. Everybody loved the movement. Everybody loved the idea. Everybody loved the way it was going. But immediately bloodshed entered. I cut myself off. Immediately after that, the command and everything started. Bloodshed. It became another thing. I said, no, I'm not part of this. Because my duty first, my love first is to humanity. Nobody's life should be cut short because I'm agitating for something I don't even know if I will get. Now, what was the cause of the fight in Rwanda? Most of you don't know history. Most of you don't read. Everybody's saying, did he kill anybody? Did he do this? Did he do that? When you incite violence, when you talk to people, you ginger them. That's why influencers should be careful. I always tell influencers, those that have the power to move people. Most people don't reason. Brain. There are some of us that have the brain. We can either use it for good or for evil. Then when you now use that brain, God has given fight violence in people. Tell them that this person is your enemy, that person is your enemy, the person who clutch is your enemy, the person that do this is your enemy. The person begin to, you have worked on them, they believe in you, they see you as a God. Once people start looking at you, looking up to you, seeing you as a role model, you have to be careful what you say. Because if what you say makes them commit a crime, you are in for it. That is the truth. Now, what is the cause of the war between the Hutsu and the Tutsi in Rwanda? I visited Rwanda, I went to the genocide museum. I saw things for myself raw. Most of you don't travel. Most of you don't know history. Right now in Rwanda, there's no tribe. Ask anybody, where are you from? I'm from Rwanda. They don't have, I am from Igbo, or I'm from Yoruba, or I'm from Hausa. I think Nigeria should copy that thing from Rwanda. Rwanda, they are very, very skeptical. They don't trust outsiders. When I visited Rwanda and I saw all of them, they are not open to receiving guests because they don't know if they are coming to destroy them again. That genocide left their mental health scattered. So if you have seen war, you go run from war. What was the cause of Rwandan this thing? Ordinary utterance that was made on a radio station calling a particular tribe cockroaches. If you don't know about the history, watch this movie sometime in April, or you watch Rwanda. Watch it. Our own Stephanie Kweledo acted it, the Nigerian lady. She was one of the major characters in that Hotel Rwanda. Then Idrisaba acted sometime in April. Go and watch that movie so that you understand how the Rwandan war started. Utterances, just talk, one person talk for radio station. They fought that war for many years. That Rwanda is still trying to revive. And Rwanda has done well after 20-something years. After 20-something years of that fight. No, almost 30 years of that fight. After 20-something years of that fight, or 30, they're just approximately 30 years. They're just trying to recover, and they are doing very well. Nigerian Naira is just few change above their own. Very soon, their money will be above our own. We are here. Rwanda that faced real civil war, internal civil war. We are here. Ordinary utterance scattered the whole country. Then you are saying that is injustice. What about those that died? What about those that died, that lost their life? That if your family member did not die, does not mean that the person who incited it does not deserve some punishment, level of punishment. What are you saying?
That I got an incoming call.
Got shot. Those that were kidnapped. There's a lawyer, there's a Rotarian in Port Harcourt. Up to today, they've not seen his body. Teddy or something they call him. Speedy or Teddy, something like that. What are you saying? Igbos are the ones suffering this thing. Igbos are suffering it. Igbos in Ugwausa are suffering this thing. And this small thing, the Hausas will start burning their properties, those in the north. Igbos in the north are suffering. Any small incitement, anything with us incite violence, they will burn Igbos' property, burn Igbos' thing, pursue Igbos, kill Igbos. Igbos will run down to Igbo states. When they run down to Igbo states, their own home, IPOB Nnamdi. So Igbos, I began to cry for the Igbo. Where will they stay? Where will they call home? They run to Lagos. Lagos shall send up Igbo. Get out. Come out every Igbo. These are that. They go to Ugwausa. They threaten them. They come to Ali Igbo. They threaten them. So where do you want Igbos to stay? Nobody's looking at that. Most of you are just head mentality, brainless. You want to follow me? I will follow you now. I thought, fuck you. Block yourself. Do you pay me? You're coming to tell me that you want because I air my opinion. Because I said my own part of what I feel. You see that judgment? It is airtight. There's no judgment that cannot face appeal. But the truth is that judgment will stand any appeal, even any appeal before God. That judgment will stand. I have the judgment. I will send it on. I will paste that. I will paste that judgment on this on the comment section. I have gone through the judgment. I read it. That judgment is airtight. Justice Omotosho did a very thorough job. Now let us even look at it. He had his lawyers along the line. His choice of lawyers were even very okay. Kanu BSAN. I love that man to stop. Good, brilliant, one of the best lawyers in Nigeria. He had them along the line. He debriefed them that he wanted to do his case himself. They gave him time to do his case himself. He started dribbling everybody. Okay, look at his attitude in court. How do you even start to beg for such a person? I was just asking. If you even want to beg for such a person, how? Get a hold on your emotions. Because the international community is watching. Now they want to, if they even want to beg for you, how did they start? You that insult a judge, call the judge by the name and tell him he doesn't know anything. You that push people, don't touch me, you are pushing. Why the drag to what end? And nobody's looking at that. Nobody's looking at that. He had his chances. Okay, defend yourself. Yes, anybody can defend. Anybody can represent themselves in court. Defend yourself. Time was running out. Defend yourself. Nothing. Let me tell you, when you rest your case on that of the prosecution, when you say, look, I have no case to answer, or I rest my case, it's suicidal. You are not giving the court the right to judge you by your opponent's testimony against you. That is what he did. Okay, my opponent has finished talking, Abi. I don't have anything to answer him. You just put a defense. No matter what the defense is, put up a defense. You did not put up a defense. You did not put up a defense. And you want the judge to give you what you don't ask for. You want the judge to perform magic. How? By the time you rest your case on that of the prosecution, it is a suicidal. Immediately he did that, and I knew it was suicidal. What were people expecting? That they would not free him? He couldn't even defend himself. Come and say, oh, at least leave your legal, even though you know what the law. When it comes to representing yourself, you will lose it. I am a lawyer, a proud lawyer. But there are some cases that are personal. I will have to brief my colleague to come and represent me. Because if I represent myself, I will lose, I will make mistake. Dr. Adagwonweya, even if you are a born lawyer, Dr. Adagwonweya, when she come to show, you call a lawyer, you brief a lawyer to please come and, you know the law. But when it comes to that, representing yourself, you must miss it. You'll be emotional. You had a very beautiful legal team. I'm not a joke with that man. You debriefed him. That guy, shit. How do you start to take? How do you even start to defend such a person? Erratic, anger, everything. Everybody watched it. Yeah, people are saying it's injustice. How? How is it injustice? Those who lost their life on IPOB and all this demand, what happened? And people were not listening to his radio communication. You were not listening to everything he was saying. You were not listening to. What about the military guys, the military couple that were killed in Olu? The video was that the woman was beheaded, her vagina was cut off. I don't see the video. How do you see white and call it black? How is it injustice? Who will give those ones justice? Whose command were they carrying out? Igbos the military, waste them, kill them. Whose command were they carrying out? Whose command were they carrying out? You incite people into war, you incite people into fighting themselves and say it's not your fault because you are not the one in the forefront that did it. As long as you are an influence that incited these people, my dear, you are going down with them. So at what point did they do injustice? Let me understand. You are calling it injustice. What is injustice? He was given a right to represent himself. He was given a right to counsel. He was given I was even shocked that Justice Omotosho gave his people right for allocutus. I called one or two of my friends. I was following up yesterday, but I was too busy. So once I would just call Victor. Alpha, I definitely delivered the judgment. Okay, what about allocutus? This one, he doesn't have a lawyer. Who will do allocutus for him? Allocutus means plea for mercy. I was so happy when Justice Omotosho gave them the microphone. I said, since you're a legal consultant and you have been coming to court for him, please, I will not shut him out from allocutus. Say he's allocutus or say something about allocutus. That is plea for mercy. And this Mr. Obi used to be my friend. Mr. Obi took the microphone and set up. And I listened to his speech. I listened to his legal counsel's speech. He was given all of the rights for fair hearing, up to allocutus. He was given all. There was no comma, no mistake.
Okay. Let me remove my shades. I wouldn't lie to you. I was distraught. I watched that entire judgment. I watched it. I wasn't happy. I was heartbroken. NNAMDIKANU's cause is not a wrong one, to be honest with you. Like I said earlier, if you had started off the video with me, I was trying to explain to you that there is a systematic structure on ground that the Igbos wouldn't ascend to a point where they'll be handed power to lead this nation. They can be vice president, they can be in the Senate president, but you see, presidency is something that the federal government of Nigeria, somehow there is either a blood agreement that would not take place. For an Igbo man, you have to be extraordinary. You have to be different. You have to be unique. You see, if you are from any other tribe, maybe the prominent tribe like Hausa or Yoruba, you don't necessarily have to do too much to be accredited, to be given an opportunity to work in the civil service. For an Igbo person, you need to be way above your counterpart. Like if there is a benchmark of 160, for an Igbo man, you need to be like 350, 400. So anybody who sees this will be like, no, come on, this person unconvincingly got this, passed this examination right. You cannot give somebody 160 and this person had like 350 or 400, which may even be above the benchmark, and you deny that person. So as an able person, right, you have to work extra hard. It's unfortunate, but that's just the system, especially for people, children born now who did not experience a civil war. It was like we inherited the war that were meted out on our ancestors and our forefathers. Is the civil war still ongoing for the Southeasterners, for the Igbos? Yes. The disparity is always obvious. It got worse actually during the elections, just because President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was campaigning. Peter Obi for almost like a very first time, an Igbo man was seeking presidency that every tribe supported. Yoruba, Hausa, Idoma, Edo. In fact, the Yorubas were even the one that packaged Peter Obi very well during that elections. They did. The reason was Nigerians were tired of the APC. The administration of Buhari, we saw insecurity, we saw economic retrogression, imbalance in political appointments and ministries and federal character parastatals appointment. We saw brazen impunity. We saw bandits like establishing structures on ground, and the government of the day was literally not doing anything about it. It was deliberately allowed to take place. Are you following me? That was what was going on. So everyone was tired of the APC. To make it worse, the NSAS protest too was also a resultant effect of what transpired. The NSAS protest was what a lot of persons say, you know what, no more APC in 2023. We don't mind going for any other person, but you see, APC, no. APC is not coming back. That NSAS was a sealing moment. Now, NNAMDIKANU's broadcast and outburst was what was used to seal him in that court. Like literally all his live broadcast, every interview he held, everything he said was what Justice James Omotosho reeled out from head to toe, from beginning to the end. They also got some IPOB ESM members whom they arrested, who gave some confessions as to what they did, even to the point of stating that when one of their gunmen or soldiers, Ikonso, died, that he was asked to be buried with 2,000 heads and his soldiers could only present 30 heads. It's important for us to be logical about what happened. Was Nnamdi Kanu strategic in how he went about this whole thing? No. The first Masob situation was supposed to be a lesson. So right now, for the fight for Biafra, is it important for the tactic to change, for the method at which the clamor for self-determination of the Igbos, is it now necessary to change tactic? Nnamdi Kanu, Simon Ekpa. There are talks that the federal government sponsored Simon Ekpa to do what he was doing. How are you fighting your enemy and exposing your secret to your enemy on a broadcast? How are you letting your enemy know what your strategy is, what your plan is? When Fulani terrorists go out killing people, they don't tell anybody. Nobody knows. It is after the attack that you see pictures and videos. Sometimes it's not even from them. It is from the communities that they affected. Do you know the Kwara situation, the CAC church? We heard that these terrorists were on the trees. They were on top of the trees for several hours. They had monitored the environment. They had monitored that church to know when they hold their services for them to have attacked. Are politicians complicit in this whole thing? Very much so. But for the Southeast, what should be done in terms of leadership? There is a vacuum when it comes to appropriate leadership in the Southeast. One of the things that Nnamdi Kanu should have done was, with his influence, with his popularity, with the love, with the entourage, with the following, Nnamdi Kanu was literally worshipped. Do you see how he's greeted? They kneel down and kiss his feet, kiss his hands. That was a kind of love. Like, you know, when you love that was served on a platter of gold. His word was taken as a Bible. Anything he says was the truth. He would have galvanized, put certain persons in place. See, Nigeria's politics is funny, it's twisted, it's barbaric. But at this time, with the method with the Igbos have been trying to assert themselves and cry for self-determination, it had to be done a different way. And the only way it can be done is through the National Assembly. That is just it. So how about putting in leaders that has the interest of their people, that will start pushing for this? Unfortunately, we've had leaders who are selfish, who are self-centered. Do you know that Buhari's administration sponsors security outfits to kill Igbos by Igbo people? Oh yes, check it out. It's on the internet. If you read, the paid security, Ebubeago was killing its own people. It got so bad that nobody knew who was killing who. There was Ebubeago, there was unknown gunmen, and then there was the supposed ESN. And then there was the Biafran Liberation Army. All in the southeast, all killing people at random, beheading, burning people. We saw the pictures, we saw the videos. It was gory, terrible. People were being killed. What exactly was the cause of this? How are you fighting for the freedom of your people and your people are being killed? That is what I did not understand. And it got so bad that elements of discord infiltrated. And if any elder called and said, please, let our young boys, don't go into the bush. Let's do this. Let's try and see how we can help our economy. You wouldn't be listened to. You'd be murdered. There were political tools used at the whims and caprices of the politicians. If you have listened to Angel the Yahoo call out Hope Uzodinma and a couple of politicians who had called them to carry out several activities against their fellow politicians. In some instances, it was for land. In some instances, it was for position, either Senate, House of Rep, chieftaincy titles. They were using these guys to kill off their opposition. So these guys went amok when there was no more sponsor. The capturing of NNAMDIKANU from Kenya also was a problem because the funding that was coming to these guys kind of stopped. And if you're a young person and you have tasted blood, like you have tasted blood, you can't come out of that. What is the advice for the Southeasterners and the Igbos? Start educating your young ones. In as much as trade, hard work, entrepreneurship is what you're known for as your enterprise, it is important for us to start educating Nigerians and diaspora. While you're trying to help the community, help also talk about education. Education is vital because once these young boys are not educated, they are being used by the politicians. They erode their mindset. They infiltrate them with hatred. And when these people are hungry, they're not educated, they are poor, they resort to violence. If the Southeast can become united, trust me, no conspiracy from the federal government can infiltrate them. The Eastern Security Network did help the boundaries of the Southeast against Fulani invaders. It's not like they did not penetrate. If you recall, in Enugu, there were talks of Fulani headers coming to terrorize communities, rape the women, take off their children. But somehow, the men on ground were fighting off these guys. After all, the Southeast Enugu state shares boundaries with Benue. Is there an agenda by some terrorists? Yes. Using Islam as a weapon? Yes. What are you really advocating for? Is it all Igbos that want Biafra? Has Biafra, the word Biafra, been a word that is scary, that if you say you want Biafra right now, you'll be executed? So how about re-strategizing for achieving Biafra? Using the system to achieve Biafra. Because right now, if you fight the system, you cannot achieve Biafra. That's the truth. The honest to God truth. So at this point in time, it is important for us to begin to educate ourselves and go back in history. Thank God history has been brought back into our school curriculum. Read books. They would help you understand the travesty, the injustice, the amalgamation, the isolation. And that the system with which the Southeast has always responded to this hasn't worked. So a different strategy needs to be applied. To be honest with you. So objectively, looking at the way the case of Nnamdi Kanu was handled, the utterances he made, the method and the strategy he went through in advocating for self-determination, was it the right way to go? There are so many communities in the Southeast that have been deserted. Businesses closed down. People could no longer continue their businesses. The sit at home on Mondays worsened the deterioration of the economy. The Southeasterners were fighting on all fronts, fighting their own people, fighting the federal government, their politicians. You had Asari Dokubo along with the Nigerian military killing off the Southeast. Do you know when it comes to the Southeast, they don't even ask you for negotiation. They don't tell you to drop your weapons when they catch you without even investigating if truly you are armed or if truly you're terrorizing. They kill you. So many pits and wells where they bury dead bodies of these guys. The worst part is that these elements, they film it. If you go to TikTok, it got so bad that some of the young boys in the Southeast who possibly did not go to school were asking to join the Biafran Liberation Army or to join ESN. You see them with their videos and pictures holding branded guns with the Biafran insignia. Proud. You should see them being proud about it. Their face is out there. Recruiting members. You see young person say, how do I join? Oh yes, this one on TikTok. I refuse to have TikTok. I don't know why. I can't bear to see all those atrocities, the killings, the murder, the butchering. Terrible, terrible. So if the system, the radical system, the violent system hasn't worked, please, what is the next appropriate action to be taken to achieve this? Nigeria is going through heavy security concerns right about now. I want us to take a very brief listen to one of the Southwest traditional leaders talking about the insecurity and how these guys have infiltrated the Southwest. This was during an interview with News Central very recently. I want us to actually listen to this because you could tell that it's very worrisome what is going on in Kogi and Kwara. According to information via disposal, they're saying that this is just a way of testing the ground for what these elements want to do. So let's listen to this. These were the things that Nnamdi Kanu had said at the time as to the plan of these guys.
Within Nigeria's Southwest. When we were in a situation that
well, this is Ghanaian dance, by the way.
Country is in a serious security threat. What is happening in most of the states now, all for concern. We got an information on the very serious authority that we are highly infiltrated in the Southwest. There is already an infiltration. By whom? By these terrorists in most of the communities in Yoruba land. You know, Kogi and Kwara, just like a buffer zones to Southwest. And what they are doing in Kogi and Kwara is just a test of ground to start the major attacks in the Southwest. The information in our disposal is that they want to attack Oyo, Ekiti, Ondo, and Lagos State. Oyo, Ekiti, Ondo, and Lagos State. You have it on good authority. Yeah, Ondo, Ekiti, and Lagos State. Who are these people? Well, those are the people that you are seeing attacking various places in Nigeria. Of any particular, tribal extraction? Well, in some cases you call them bandits. In some cases you call them Fulani headsmen. But when you are talking of international terrorist organization, we have ISIS and ISWAP. In Nigeria, we have Boko Haram too. And the three name was just a popular name, but different pocket of groups bring from those organizations. And I can tell you authoritatively that this thing is being coordinated by some foreigners. You go beyond Nigerians. And one of the reasons behind this attack is three issues. It's religion motivated, it's economic motivated, and ethnicity is there. And different groups have their own way of target on the basis of their own ideology. When you see the crisis is flowing from the northeast to the northwest, north centers. And I was surprised when I heard the governor of Benue State that there was no Christian genocide in the state yesterday. I was shocked. And the governor was a religion leader before he became a governor of the state. Even we that was not living in Middlebelt, we are being worried, seriously concerned about the incident that is happening in Benue State and Plateau State. And on a daily basis, we got information of attack from different communities. And I don't know how this man want to classify genocide. When a race is attacking other race and trying to wipe them out of the system or from the state or community, there is no way you will classify it as genocide.
All right, so that was Gani Adams. He's a well-known person in Nigeria, also a traditional leader, and you could hear him telling you precisely what the situation on ground is. So the big question is, what is the Nigerian government ready to do about this? Very recently, they've been lobbying, really trying to speak with the American senators. I'm sure you must have watched the parliament I think 2 or 3 days ago, where they had a conversation about the insecurity in Nigeria, not ascribing it to a particular religious group genocide. It's a genocide across board, not just Christians and Muslims. Whether it's Christian genocide or Muslim genocide, is there a genocide in Nigeria? Yes. Are certain elements cleansing out certain ethnic groups from their original homelands? Yes. So what is the government of the day ready to do about it? For the past 1 week, the insecurity has been sporadic, precise, targeted, calculated. And it feels like the military is confused. They don't even know what to do. 41 unity schools have been asked to shut down. Do you know that in Plateau State, all the schools have been asked to shut down? In Taraba State, they said, okay, you know what? Those boarding schools or unity schools, no more boarding schools. Everyone go to school and return home. Nobody will be staying in the hostel anymore. But right now, 41 unity schools have been asked to shut down. Do you know what that specifies? Do you know what that categorizes? It means that the government cannot secure its people. It means that these persons are running amok, and that the government is confused and do not know what to do. So right now, they're kind of just to cover up their vulnerability by saying, we're trying to protect our people, stay at home. Who says that in your house you are safe? Who says that in your home you're protected? I just want to understand, when you tell people that they should stay at home or they should close down the schools, who says that they are safe in their schools? Who says that their homes cannot be invaded? Most of the time, don't they stay in their homes and these guys come burn them off, kill them off? It's targeted, it's precise. And it's there, especially when Trump said he wanted to help or assist Nigeria. We began to see coordinated attacks. These guys are so many that you wouldn't believe the complicity within the military ranks. They provide information to those guys. It is not a lie. A lot of the soldiers who resigned, who left, was because they felt that the military was already porous and that a lot of their persons have died. Meanwhile, some of them inside are the cause of the death of their people. The Nigerian military used to be a very strong military form, strong military formation. They understand the terrain of the Sahel. I remember then, during ECOMOG, the Liberia crisis, Cote d'Ivoire, even Sudan, Nigerian soldiers were called upon to help the other soldiers across the Central African Republic because they understand that Sahel, they are good fighters. Do you see the kind of weapons that they're giving to the soldiers to go fight these guys? These guys are carrying RPGs, automated weapons. Sometimes during their training in the bush, you need to see the way they waste bullets. The Nigerian army cannot even afford to waste bullets because what they have, the weaponry given to them is limited. We've even seen where they captured some of these Nigerian soldiers resell the weapons given to the Nigerian military to these terrorists. Very recently, we saw some of the supplies that were intercepted. Tire rims, bathroom slippers, rubbers, food items, pots. Like a lot of items that they think they need. So what are we talking about here? There have been calls across social media for restructuring, for disintegration, President Tinubu to resign. A couple of people think this is politically motivated because this was the same script that was played against Jonathan in 2015 or 2014, thereabout, against Jonathan. This was the way Jonathan's government was vulnerable and they asked for the help of Barack Obama, where obviously we know the whole Bring Back Our Girls clamor at the time. And that was what was used to bury Jonathan's administration. They refused to supply weapons to Jonathan. They said the weapons were being given to Boko Haram elements. So why would they supply weapons for Boko Haram to kill Nigerians, innocent Nigerians? So they refused to provide weapons for Jonathan. Jonathan then decided to contract a black market supplier for weapons. That was the advice given to Jonathan at the time. And how did they do that? With raw cash in dollars. That money was intercepted at the South African airport. The contractor, whom the Nigerian government, through Jonathan and some underhand conversation to collaborate and get those weapons, could not be seen. Somebody tipped off the South African authority to check that particular plane that had that amount of money to be given to the contractor to provide weapons for the Nigerian government to fight Boko Haram. There was a deliberate, precise method to weaken Jonathan. The elements who supplied these guys weapons were the elements working for Jonathan. The elements causing the insecurity were the elements working for Jonathan. While monies were released for those guys, they held the money for themselves and then provided inferior weapons to the Nigerian military, sent young boys to the battlefield to die for nothing. That's how they militarize and weaponize insecurity for political gains. Unfortunately, the collateral damage is innocent Nigerians, women, children, babies. Most communities cannot go to their farms anymore, especially communities that rely on farming activities. Food is very expensive now because those communities that go to the farm and provide food have not been going to the farms. So their farms now have weeds. A lot of them take loans to buy seedlings. They cannot pay back those loans because they've not been going to their farms. Some of them during harvest season, these Fulani terrorists with their cows come, invade their farmlands, eat all their crops, and that's it. A couple of them have committed suicide because they cannot meet up with the deadline of paying for the loans that they borrowed. So what are we doing? Yes, Nnamdi Kanu said all those things in his broadcast. And that's what the Nigerian government is experiencing. One would have expected President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to address the nation, but no. His aides and supporters have rather been into inciting the polity, spreading hate and division against their fellow Nigerians, all because of politics. Well, there's no Messiah coming to save anybody. If you don't wake up and save yourself, you're on your own. Whichever way you can protect yourself, you protect yourself. If you cannot trust the Nigerian government to handle insecurity, then just know how to make sure that you support yourself and protect yourself. For the Igbos, wisdom is good for the wise. Do not be involved in anything that you could be tagged to be part of. Be careful what you post on social media, your remarks and your utterances. These people are watching. So all I would say and advise and suggest is that we remain vigilant. Go about your businesses. Make sure you stay safe. Don't go out at night. Try as much as possible to close whatever business activities you need to do at 4 p.m. and go home to your loved ones. Fortify yourselves. Whether you're a traditionalist, whether you believe in Christ, whether you're Muslim, whether you're whatever it is, fortify yourselves. Because as it stands now, you only have God and you to keep you going. I would have expected President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to address the nation, because the incessant attacks and insecurity back to back is worrisome. Whether it's politically sponsored or motivated, whether it's by elements, outside Nigeria, deliberately doing this to undermine his government, whatever any way anybody wants to describe this, he should have addressed the nation. He hasn't. It's all 2027. That's the ultimate agenda. You would have expected the government agents to call for nationhood and oneness of Nigeria to see how they can protect the nation. But no, it's all politics. They keep on writing divisive rhetorics and statements. None of them have come out to be precise and decisive about how to handle this. The president has been quiet. At the end of the day, I don't think anyone cares about the lives of innocent Nigerians, especially these guys at the national level. So you look after yourselves. Please like, subscribe, share. I would like to know your comments afterwards. Bye for now.